Hey everybody, I'm here at NAB, this is the National Association of Broadcasters in Las Vegas for 2016, and I have the honor and privilege to stand next to and talk with Bob Woodruff of ABC World News Tonight. How's it going, Bob?
It's doing great. Not a bad place to be. I'm not gambling yet, though.
I know. Well, I usually try and stay away unless I need to break a dollar down into quarters. That's my strategy anyways.
So cheap.
I know. What can I say? So first of all, I think it's probably important to kind of start with why you are here. You were just honored with the NAB Distinguished Service Award. But that's not the only thing you've been honored with this year. You've also been honored with the Public Leadership in Neurology Award. This has been quite a year for you.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kinds of things that I would never expect. You know, and sometimes I say that sometimes it's not a bad thing about doing something, you know, it's a tragedy in war, because, you know, there's some things that are things you would never be recognized for, but and certainly not distinguished. I'll have to say that's for sure. But, you know, I've always loved journalists from the very beginning, so it's such an honor to be here.
Absolutely. So to kind of take a step back as far as why you are here. 10 years ago, your life changed, and I think it's an understatement to say that it changed dramatically. Explain a little bit about what happened while you were reporting in Iraq for ABC, like 1 month after becoming the head anchor.
Yeah, I've been covering the war of Iraq and Afghanistan for so many years and been there so many times. And this was the State of the Union was being done by George Bush at the time, President Bush, and I decided to come over and see what he's talking about in Iraq. It's transferring the power over from the U.S. military to the Iraqi military, and so we were in a tank going down the road, me and my cameraman, my producer, and my sound man, and we were hit by an IED, and that kind of changed lives.
Absolutely. Injuries, no doubt, extensive. You were in a coma, a medically induced coma, right, for 9 weeks at that point. How on earth do you make a full recovery from that? I know there's a lot of elements to it.
It's never a full recovery. You know, I don't think people that go, you know, wounds that bad, it's never going to be a full recovery, but it's been a pretty miraculous recovery for me. I think sometimes if the rocks were 1 centimeter in a different direction at that time, maybe I wouldn't even be here right now. If I didn't have the help of all the remarkable, you know, medics and corpsmen with the military that were there at that scene, I don't think I'd be here either. So it's been a tough road, but it's not one that gets back completely to normal, but it's a lot better than ever expected.
Sure. Now, your family, obviously, integral to your recovery. Explain a little bit about just kind of having the support of your wife, and I know your brother, and I mean, this is a kind of support that I have to imagine a lot of people actually don't have.
Yeah, I think I had a couple things. I had a remarkable family. I had ABC stuck by my side, you know, from the very beginning. So that was an advantage I had. You know, there's no real, you know, medical proof that you'll be better off and you'll recover faster if you have family around you and friends around you. But I think without question that is a big difference. So if you've got that, I think it does, you know, step up the pace.
Now, your mission now, you know, after this entire crazy experience, extends definitely beyond your own story to the soldiers who, by and large, you know, on a daily basis, they face these challenges every day. And I'm sure this has brought you kind of closer to the kind of support that they have. Are they getting enough support, do you think, at this point?
I think it's getting better. I mean, back in the very beginning of these wars, they had kinds of wounds that were brand new in this world. The ones of the IED explosions, and they knew very little about traumatic brain injury within the military at that time. But now they've learned tons of it. I don't think any of us ever to say there's being done enough, right? So we are now trying to share that kind of responsibility between the governments. Assistance for them, and then also in the civilian world. So we are raising a lot of money with the foundation that we started to try to match up what the government is accomplishing, but there's other things that need to be done, and that's continuing, you know, probably for the rest of our lifetime.
Yeah, what you're talking about, of course, is the Bob Woodruff Foundation, directly aiding, essentially, recovering soldiers during kind of the medical care, and then also on returning home. What kind of change have you seen specifically as a result of the work that you've done with the foundation?
I think a lot of things are being learned. I mean, in the very beginning, we wanted to make sure, as you said, that they had the best medical care. But then when they went home, to make sure they had that really, very healthy transition back to their home, because a lot of times they're just ignored when they go back to that world. And now there's a lot of other long-term assistance to them for everything from, issues they have in terms of, there's suicide and there's divorce and those issues, but also getting jobs, because they really just want to get back to normal the way it was before. They don't ever want to be considered, they don't want any pity. They don't want to be just the heroes. They want to make sure they can go back to the same place, a different place, but to go back to the world that shows their accomplishments and what they've done. And we're seeing that now, and things are starting to change.
That is a long road, to say the least. And then before this experience, I'd say, is kind of to cap this off, you had a career. Now you have, I'd say you also have a career, but you have a life purpose. Yeah, you were like, wait a minute, what are you telling me? You have, I mean, you have a career, but a big part of what you do now has this greater purpose, this greater meaning. I don't know, explain that a little bit. Like, do you feel, I mean, I heard a little bit of what you were saying on stage before I headed over here. It sounds like your life is much richer, more fuller now as a result, even though the beginning was so tragic.
Right. It's a mix of things now. I'm spending a lot of time now over in Asia, reporting out of Asia for ABC. I'm doing a lot of reporting as well for what's being done for the veterans. That's absolutely the case. We're going to go cover the Invictus Games, which Prince Harry's putting down in Florida, down in Orlando. I'm doing other stories for anyone else who's doing these kinds of stories. We're trying to get them on about the veterans and their needs everywhere that we can. So yeah, it's true. I did say up there on the stage that this is probably the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. And so again, it's as I said about a different topic before, that there are some good things about the war and there's bad things about the war. And at least this one now, I found a place side by side with those that have served our country and sacrificed as well. So yeah, that's been it's very worth it.
Absolutely, I have to imagine. Final question, because TWiT, This Week in Tech, we are a technology kind of company. We talk a lot about technology. And obviously, I mean, even in the past 10 years, technology has influenced just journalism in general. There's a lot of citizen journalism, social media, all that kind of stuff. How do you feel about kind of the direction of technology and the direct influence that technology has had over journalism over the past 10 years?
I love it. I mean, now that we can do we can shoot things everywhere and feed anywhere. I mean, now we're shooting from drones, above the scene. We see every kind of camera. We can shoot things on our cell phone. We can edit it right there on our cell phone if we have to, and get things back quickly from places that never was able to even feed, for days. So this is now enabling us to have views about a story from so many people that we have a really good balance that we can create. I mean, the concerns are that when people go out there and do all the shooting and the reporting, if they really research it, do they really get multiple sources and all that? There's no question, which is why we say broadcasting is never going to go away, because that's going to be needed forever and it will always be watched. So, but to gather that information, it's technology that makes this it's just widespread, and it's a hell of a lot more fun. Mm-hmm. It's just so it's more interesting to use technology to shoot the stories that we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And everybody has it basically in their pocket, wherever they happen to be. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, really an honor and a privilege to talk with you today.
For this, yeah, appreciate it.
Congratulations.